Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Second Take. I am Armand Sadler, one of your hosts. It was a crazy week in sports. We've got a lot going on. Today we will crown a World Cup champion. We know the biggest story of the week. We will get to that. There was another storyline today, but just a lot going on. First, I want to talk to my host and my guests, see how they're doing. Joe, what's up?
I'm great. One of our big news is that LeBron is going back to Cleveland, and the only reason he did that is because he watches Second Take, and he was like, Jill is pretty confident I'm staying in Miami, so I'm going to prove her wrong because she's so mean to me. So sorry, guys, if you're Heat fans. I don't know who's watching, but this is all my fault. I'm very sorry.
Yes, Second Take would like to extend an apology to the Miami Heat fans for influencing LeBron James to go to Cleveland. Anthony, how's it going, man? Thank you for joining us. This is our Around the Horn champion, so we decided to bring him back. Anthony, what's going on, man?
It's always a pleasure to be on, and with LeBron, I didn't say he was staying in Miami, so I just want to correct that. Like, Jill, that might have been on you, so I'm good here. But, yeah, that's crazy. He went back home, I guess, so
Yeah.
I don't know what that dude's doing.
Yep, don't worry, we'll get to that later. We have a lot to discuss, so let's jump right into it. The World Cup final is today between Argentina and Germany. We saw last week that Germany completely annihilated Brazil, who did not have Neymar, and Argentina played a great game against the Netherlands, but ultimately they prevailed. Guys, how you feeling about the final today? Who do you think is going to come out on top? Joe?
I'm picking Argentina, actually. Just the way I know Germany annihilated Brazil. That was cruel. They were playing without Neymar and Silva. Silva was out because of a dirty penalty he had the game before. Actually, Brazil played their third place game last night. It was terrible against the Netherlands. They lost, so they were fourth place in the World Cup this year, which is take it or leave it. But Argentina, they were just really on fire, I felt. They won in overtime in the penalty kicks, and the goalie actually blocked 2 of the PKs, and that's extremely rare. That almost never happens. I'm pretty sure the guys make it like 90% of the time. I don't know. You got Messi over there. Messi is pretty hard to stop. I would like to see Argentina prevail in this one.
Anthony?
Well, yeah, I want Argentina to win, like you do, Jill, but Germany's just shown they're too dominant, in my opinion. What we saw they did to Brazil, like, I don't think they can be stopped right now. They are the best team in the world. We know that. It's an upset if Argentina wins. So, yeah, I'm just looking. I don't think Messi can do it alone because Germany, all of their players are all-star players, while Argentina, you have Messi and a few others.
I was actually talking about that. Like, the issue with Brazil is that they were led by one player. It's a player type of team. And we talked about this with the Spurs. Remember how we're used to every team having a star in the NBA, and we're kind of doing the same in soccer. But you need a team to win. And that's why everyone's talking about Germany. And that's why Germany's so good. It's because they don't have one great player. They have a great team. And Argentina is a great team, but they do have that fantastic player in Messi. And Brazil had the same issue. When Neymar went out, no one knew what to do with themselves.
Yes, Brazil looked exactly like the Miami Heat in Game 1 when LeBron went out with his cramps. They lost. They didn't really know what they were doing. I thought that Brazil would be able to prevail. I think they have some solid pieces besides Neymar, but so did Miami without LeBron, and we saw what happened there. I'm going to have to agree with Anthony that Germany will most likely win this game. Messi's very talented. Argentina does have some solid pieces behind Messi, but Germany is essentially the San Antonio Spurs, and that they completely defeated Brazil mentally and physically. I see them winning this game. It's been a really great World Cup to pay attention to. I've enjoyed it, and it's going to be a great game today, so I'm really looking forward to that. This week, Jill actually directed me to a very interesting video about the FIFA Corporation, so I'm going to let her delve into that a little bit.
Yeah, it was actually very interesting. One of my friends was telling me about how she doesn't like FIFA as a corporation. She sent me that video, and it really described everything wrong with FIFA. There's been a lot of rumors about them fixing games, refs, giving certain teams power over the other. That's why a lot of people have had issues with the World Cup, is because they feel the same people are always getting the benefits from the refs. Brazil has been in the finals a lot. That's a team that's always getting love from the refs. Another thing is they spent, what was it, $20 million building a stadium in Brazil that no one will ever use again. So that's another one. A lot of people didn't like that. There were a ton of protests going into the World Cup in Brazil because people just didn't want FIFA there. They were spending all this money, doing all this stuff, reconstructing everything to make this city look so nice, this country look so nice, but you're never using it again. Another thing is a lot of people think that when the World Cup is in your country, you get a lot of money. And actually, FIFA gets all of the money, which is funny because it's a non-profit organization, but it has over $1 billion in the bank. Interesting little fact there. It was actually a great video, a very funny take on the situation, but it really opened my eyes, and I'm sure y'all have very similar reactions to it.
Yeah, one thing that the speaker touched on is that I believe World Cup 2018 or 2022 will be held in Qatar, and the temperatures there are not conducive to playing soccer. They reach almost 122 degrees or something like that, so that's going to be a very hot, literally, World Cup, and a very there are going to be a lot of injuries. It's just not a place that soccer should be played at. So FIFA's decisions there are very questionable. They completely infiltrated Brazil, as Joe said, created a stadium just for never to be used again, took all the money. So, yeah, it's a very corrupt and questionable corporation. It was a very good video. I appreciate Joe sharing that. Also very funny. Anthony, your feelings on it?
Yeah. I agree with both of you on this, especially after watching the video and talking about how in 2022, I think it was, that they can't, they're not going to be able to play in those conditions. Players are going to start dying, one. Fans aren't going to be able to go. They're going to lose public. They're kind of hurting themselves by being so corrupt, if you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
you can't make other people mad at the sport you're trying to get them to watch. So, I mean, they're just hurting themselves.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, FIFA's always going to make a lot of money. We know this with the video game and everything. But it's just funny because I kind of saw the parallels between FIFA and the NCAA. It's very similar complaints. Just like FIFA, the NCAA is a non-profit. They don't pay taxes, but how rich is the NCAA? How rich is FIFA? Stuff like that. But as for that 2022, just why would you even think to have people play somewhere where it can reach 120 degrees? No one can play in those conditions. And then they might be talking about air-conditioned fields or something, but that's just kind of cheating soccer. I don't understand. There are plenty of countries they could have picked. Plenty of different places. Why wouldn't they do that? And the guy in the video said he almost hopes that someone took a bribe because that would make more sense than just picking Qatar as the place for the 2022 World Cup. We'll see how that goes. I mean, as y'all said, it's dangerous. It's dangerous playing conditions. If LeBron couldn't handle the heat in the funny joke, he couldn't handle the heat in the Spurs arena when it was 90 degrees, I would love to see what happens at 120 degrees.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of parallels between FIFA and the NBA, like we said, with Neymar and the Brazil seeming like LeBron and the Heat, and then Qatar having these heat conditions that are just unable for you to play in, just like the Heat couldn't play in San Antonio. A lot of parallels, but the video definitely opened my eyes to a lot of things I didn't know about FIFA. It's good to be aware of these things, but moving on, Mo Martin won the British Women's Open today. It was her first career major championship, and her score was 1 under par. Congratulations to her. Chad Ochocinco scored a touchdown in the CFL game. We like Chad on Second Take. We liked him as an NFL player despite his bad attitude, so keep scoring touchdowns, bro. I want to see you succeed somewhere since the NFL did not end up working well for you. One interesting discussion I saw on First Take this week with Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, not as good of a show as Second Take, obviously. They discussed Baylor is looking to give Robert Griffin III a statue. And Stephen A. Smith really didn't like this. Skip Bayless didn't like this because the thing about a statue is that it's permanent and it says more about you than just a football player. If you get a banner or a poster of you playing football, then that's just about you being a football player. But Stephen A. Smith felt that it kind of made RG3 seem bigger than football, as if he did great things for the community of Baylor, for the students of Baylor, like he donated money or he was almost a godlike figure. So it's a very interesting discussion on First Take. I wanted to get the co-hosts' opinions here. What do you guys feel about Robert Griffin III possibly getting a statue at Baylor?
Well, the thing is, at UT we have a statue of Ricky Williams, and some might be like, why Ricky? You know, Ricky's had his problems, but he's still a celebrity at UT. I had to interview him for my internship, and I thought I was gonna like pass out. I felt like I was in the presence of a superstar because that's what he is to UT. You know, we've only had two Heisman winners. It was Earl Campbell and Ricky Williams, and very far apart. So I understand with the Ricky statue, it made sense. As for Baylor making a statue of RG3, it seems a little, I guess I would say premature right now. I understand he's probably, I mean, he is their token player. When you think of Baylor football history, you're going to say RG3 now. And I mean, that's great. You know, they love him. He's on all their billboards. That's how they try to recruit people to go to Baylor, is you drive through Texas and you say, come to Baylor, and it's a picture of RG3. Like, if you go to Baylor, you're going to be a Heisman winner. So it's interesting. I guess I see what they're doing. I would wait a little while. It is kind of weird, though. You think you see him as like a god if he has a statue on the campus, but I see what Stephen A. was saying, but I also see why Baylor wants to do it, and they have this new stadium coming. Maybe they want to have a little statue of RG3 with it. They're going to do what they're going to do.
Anthony?
Yeah, I agree. It's somewhat premature right now because, yes, RG3 did put the franchise on the map. Most people didn't know what Baylor football was until RG3 was there. Yes, he was their Heisman winner. Yes, he had a good rookie season with the Redskins. But, I mean, what if he does something later on in his NFL career that makes it to where they have to take the statue away? We don't know right now. Look at Sandusky, the whole scandal. That whole thing ruined that organization. So right now we don't know. I think they're jumping the gun a little. But if they really want to, I mean, they're going to do it. We can't tell them no.
Yeah, I agree with the both of you as well as Stephen A. Stephen A. brought up the whole Joe Paterno thing, how Penn State honored him with the statue, and then he had his whole scandal, and then he ended up dying. It's something that it's really risky because, as Anthony said, if RG3 does do something with drugs or if he assaults someone or just has some type of scandal in his career, it's going to reflect badly on Baylor because they gave this man a statue. So it's something I would definitely take into consideration. Baylor is a small school. It was not known. RG3 definitely made it known, as Anthony said. But at the same time, there are many risks with making something as permanent as a statue. So we will update you guys on that if Baylor goes through with it. On the topic of some more football, the Baltimore Ravens are having a plethora of legal issues. Jimmy Smith was arrested last night on disorderly conduct. He is the 5th Baltimore Ravens player arrested this summer. The Ravens haven't done very well since their Super Bowl win, Ray Lewis retiring, Ed Reed leaving. You definitely don't want legal issues on your plate on top of the fact that you're trying to get back to being elite as a football team. So we'll see what happens with that. Now for some Yankees talk. Masahiro Tanaka is injured. He's looked at being gone for a minimum of 6 weeks. There's a possibility of Tommy John surgery. It's just the Yankees can't seem to catch a break. Injuries have killed us this season. CC's out for the rest of the season. Tanaka's going to be gone a while. We did acquire Jeff Francis as a replacement. He's all right. He's no Tanaka, but he's okay. Hopefully the Yankees can turn this around. And we got All-Star break coming up. Tanaka will actually have to sit out of the All-Star game. I want to update you guys on some standings and also give you the rosters for the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby. We got the Baltimore Orioles at the top of the AL East. We got the Detroit Tigers atop the AL Central, Oakland Athletics atop the AL West, Washington Nationals atop the NL East, St. Louis Cardinals, and Milwaukee Bucks Brewers, actually tied for first place in the NL Central, and the Los Angeles Dodgers atop the NL West. And now for the All-Star Game rosters, we have in the AL, Salvador Perez will replace Matt Wieters as starting catcher. Miguel Cabrera, obviously starting first baseman. Robbie Cano starting second baseman. Derek Jeter starting shortstop. Josh Donaldson starting third base. In the outfield, we got Jose Bautista, Mike Trout, and Adam Jones. Playing designated hitter, Nelson Cruz. For the National League, the starting lineup will be Jonathan Lucroy of the Brewers will replace Yadier Molina. Paul Goldschmidt from the D-backs will be starting at first base. Chase Utley, second base. Troy Tulowitzki, shortstop. Aramis Ramirez, third base. In the outfield, we got Andrew McCutchen, Carlos Gomez, and Yasiel Puig. I'm sure Joe's very happy about that. And then for the home run derby, we got in the American League, Captain Jose Bautista, Josh Donaldson, Brian Dozier, Adam Jones, and Yonis Cespedes. In the National League, Captain Troy Tulowitzki, Todd Frazier, Justin Morneau, Yasiel Puig, and Giancarlo Stanton. So it should be a very interesting All-Star break. I always love watching the home run derby. I love watching the All-Star game. I'm happy to see my boy Jeter in there. I'm hoping that he puts in some work. As for the home run derby, I can see the AL winning with Jose Bautista taking the lead. I mean, he's just a power hitter. We all know what he does. Joe shaking her head. What are you thinking, Joe?
I think no way in the home run derby. I'm sorry, just Yasiel Puig. You know I love him. When I heard that he was in it, I was so happy, and I don't know. I think both are going to be so much fun, and I'm so happy that Derek Jeter is going to be in it one last time. This is going to be very emotional, it's kind of funny because he's going to be on the same team as Robbie Cano, and a little awkward there, but I see them winning it in the All-Star game because that lineup, as you were reading it, I was just like, wow. I mean, this is going to be fun. Both are going to be so much fun. As for the home run derby, yeah, Jose Bautista, he got a good lineup going over there, but I'm always going to pick Yasiel Puig over everybody. So that's who I'm going with.
Anthony, what you thinking, man?
I'm actually thinking the American League here. I'm going with, I think the Yoenis is going to take the home run derby. I'm a Yoenis fan. That's my dude. Even though I'm a Rangers fan, I got to go for Yoenis. But with Jeter being in the All-Star game, I like it. I think the All-Star game is going to kind of take away because Tanaka cannot participate. So it kind of makes it less exciting. I mean, the Yankees keep not getting breaks, like you said. Tanaka might have Tommy John surgery, so that kind of takes away from the All-Star game. I mean, this All-Star game has a sort of different feel to me. I don't know, does it to you guys?
Yeah.
I mean, with Jeter leaving, injuries, the Dodgers being on top for once, and Puig actually being a star, like, it's his second year. So, yeah, I'm excited to see this All-Star game.
Absolutely. Thank you for supporting me. We know Jill is always going to go against me, and she supports Yasiel Puig. So it's good to have a guest on here who's on my side. Moving on to some NBA now, because we know there's just so much to talk about. The new Cleveland Cavaliers coach, David Blatt, he says that he doesn't think Andrew Wiggins is going anywhere. We know that with LeBron coming and some interest in Kevin Love, there was some talk that the Cavaliers might put together a package with Andrew Wiggins to send to the Timberwolves to bring Love over. David Blatt does not think that'll happen. I like Andrew Wiggins. I like him on the Cavs. I think LeBron is going to turn him into a beast in the NBA on top of playing with Kyrie Irving. Andrew Wiggins is in such a great position right now. I definitely wouldn't want to see Andrew Wiggins to go anywhere. So that should be a good team, definitely.
Let me say something about the Cavs. As we have heard non-stop about LeBron, let me just say I had to watch SportsCenter for 6 hours while I was at my internship the other day. All 6 hours was about LeBron. It's to the point on SportsCenter in the sidebar, they weren't even playing around. There's just a giant picture of LeBron there. Nothing else, just LeBron. Fed up with that. Y'all know how I feel about LeBron. But the thing is, people are saying Cavs going to win it all next year. I understand there's some, percentage that was calculated in Vegas or something. No, they're not going to win it all next year. They will make the playoffs, but just because you add LeBron does not change anything. We have just talked about this, a star versus a team. The Cavs are still extremely young. They have a head coach who has never coached in the NBA before. What about that equation equals championship immediately? It doesn't. Yes, Kyrie Irving is a very great player. Tristan Thompson, very great player. Andrew Wiggins, he could be very good. I don't know. He's never played in the NBA. And LeBron is LeBron. That doesn't make a championship team. They will be dominant, yes, and I can see them making the playoffs. But you can't say that they're going to win a championship just because they added one player. They have a new GM as well. It's too much. Those things just don't add up. I understand they want to be confident, whatever. And, LeBron's there for sure for 2 years. He signed 2 years, $42.1 million, which is funny because now he's not the highest player in the NBA, which we can get to. But I need to silence everyone who's saying the Cavs are going to win it all next year. They are not going to win it all. I'm telling you this now. You can hold it against me if I'm wrong, but I'm not going to be wrong.
Okay. Anthony?
Well, I agree with you. I don't think the Cavs are going to win right off the bat. But with this Kevin Love trade, if he does end up with the Cavs, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be mad at the NBA because I remember a few years back when Chris Paul was supposed to be a Laker, and that trade was nixed. The only trade in the history of the NBA to be nixed. So if Kevin Love goes to the Cavs, you're telling me that's not too much power?
You're completely right. It's to the point where it's not fair. Like, as you said, it's too much power. It's like creating just a dominant team. Like, if that was allowed, don't you think we would have an all-star team as maybe the Lakers? Just pick all the all-stars and send them over to LA. You can't do that. Right now, the Cavs have enough talent. Adding Kevin Love is just too much.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
You go for it. Go for it.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you guys. Actually, I don't see the Cavs winning the championship next year. They're a contender, and LeBron James added to any team makes them a championship contender. But they're not going to be a championship winner. As it said, they're still young. Kyrie Irving hasn't made the playoffs yet. He hasn't proved himself as a point guard who can lead you through the playoffs and do what's necessary for you to win. Andrew Wiggins just got to the league, had one impressive summer league game. Don't jump and assume he's going to be great. LeBron James, obviously, 2 rings, 5 finals appearances, 3 losses. So it's not even like he's guaranteed to win a ring just because he makes it to the finals. So the verdict is out on the Cavs. Adding Kevin Love, that might change that. But as we've discussed many times on this show, the NBA has become an arms race where you just arm your team with a lot of great players, and that's how you get things done. They tried to add a maximum salary cap to prohibit teams from adding all these players, and players are just taking pay cuts now so they can get good players on their teams. They found ways around it. That's what the NBA is nowadays. It's very unfortunate. I agree. It's too much power. It's basically an all-star team. I don't like it. The whole thing with Chris Paul is that the NBA owned the Hornets at the time, so they didn't think it would be fair to trade away their best player when they really had nothing else besides Chris Paul. But I understand your frustrations. But yes, the Cavs will not be an immediate championship-winning team. They have a lot of development to do, and they've come out and said that. LeBron James said it's going to be a challenge. Do not expect immediate success. So if they know it, then I think the whole world needs to know that they're going to work towards getting there, but they're not going to be an immediate championship team. Go ahead, Anthony. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah. Oh, you're fine. All I wanted to say was, if we look back at the Dream Team era, none of those players played with each other. They all wanted to beat each other. It's sad to me how today's NBA, today's players don't care about winning by themselves. They just want to get all the best players and gang up on the players that aren't in the All-Star game. Gang up on players who aren't to their caliber. Why not build a team around you, become a leader, and lead your team to success? Make your team better. Don't have to go and get like a bunch of all-star players for you.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because it seems like that's what another superstar is trying to do, Carmelo Anthony, who surprised us all. I believe Friday he told the Lakers that it's not going to happen. Don't pursue me anymore. I'm not going there. It was between the Knicks, the Rockets, and the Bulls. And then yesterday, Carmelo Anthony comes out and says, I'm staying in New York. Today he released a statement saying that his heart never wavered. Kind of don't get that because he expressed to them very adamantly that he was going to test free agency. We all thought he was going to leave.
He literally has said publicly, I don't want to stay in New York. And then he comes and lies to us like that, saying my heart never wavered. Your heart was the definition of wavering. You said you do not want to be there. That's not even wavering. Your heart was just out of it. I understand LeBron released a nice letter to say that he was leaving, and I think like Carmelo was like, oh, that was nice. I think I'm going to do it too. But no one believes you because that was a blatant lie.
Yeah, it's pretty clear Carmelo's living in LeBron's shadow with his no rings and LeBron's 2 rings. I mean, you want to beat the best. You want to be better than the best. So Carmelo kind of followed LeBron's decision of 2011 and stirring up all this drama, but he chose to stay in New York. But he said, I'm a New York Knick at heart. I want to build this team, and I think I can with Phil Jackson, who's a champion who creates championship teams. I don't think the Knicks are going to do it. 2015, there are some good free agents coming out. Rajon Rondo, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Love. 2016, LeBron James will be a free agent again. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. So there are some people who could come to New York, but I don't think these stars are looking at New York as a destination anymore. I mean, they had some really good teams put together the last couple of seasons, and they haven't gotten it done. I don't know what Phil Jackson's plan is. The Knicks just brought in Jose Calderon, but they lost Tyson Chandler, so I don't know who's going to play center for them. Next season, that they will be losing Amari Stoudemire's contract and Bargnani's contract, so they'll have some money to make a move. But I don't know if any stars are looking at New York as a destination right now. How about you, Anthony?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think stars are looking at New York as a destination solely because if you look at all of the players who have gone to New York in recent years, their stats have dropped, their minutes have dropped. They haven't been good caliber players. Tyson Chandler, coming off a championship with the Mavs, goes to New York and he gets injured again, one. He's not the defensive player of the year anymore. He just goes downhill. Raymond Felton, very good. Then now he's mediocre to maybe out of the league if he doesn't do good with the Mavs now. So stars aren't looking at New York. With Carmelo Anthony, I think he knows that he wants to be the main guy, and I think he stayed with New York because he knows Phil needs a main guy for his offense to work. If you look at Phil's championships, they've all involved Kobe, Shaq, Jordan, Pippen. All these people are people who can just take over a game, which Carmelo can. So I feel like he went to New York again just to see what Phil can do.
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
Okay,
So,
we have to realize it is going to be a different Knicks team. Like, we know Derek Fisher is the coach, but we all know that Phil Jackson's really going to be the coach. Phil Jackson is Phil Jackson. He can make a team out of – if anyone's going to make a team out of nothing, it's going to be Phil Jackson. I said this, that Carmelo's going to go somewhere where he can be the main man, even though that's not the smartest decision. If he wanted rings, he would have gone to L.A. Kobe and Melo on the same team, it's done deal. But he went for the money. Lakers still offered him a ton of money. 4 years, $95 million, I believe, but he wanted that 5-year, $129 million, which is fine. Go for the money if that's what you want to do, Carmelo. But I am pretty confident in saying he is not going to win a championship with the Knicks. Phil Jackson is great, but I mean, the way Carmelo's attitude is, the way that exactly like you were saying, who else is on the Knicks right now? Nobody. So, I mean, it's just not good. I guess maybe they were getting rid of players to make more cap space for Melo, but nothing's going to come of this. We all know this. If Melo was smart, he would have gone to the Lakers, and I'm going to stand by that statement because that would have been great. But whatever, dreams crushed, it's okay, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I actually see Anthony as the modern-day Charles Barkley.
yeah, absolutely.
Modern day.
Yeah, I think that if Melo wanted rings, he would have went to either LA or Chicago. Chicago wanted him. They offered him a very nice deal. But he came back to New York for the max contract, 5 years. He's going to take around $122 million. He's leaving $7 million for the Knicks to possibly make some moves, but I don't really know how much leverage they have with $7 million to bring in somebody else. Perhaps he'll be great with Anthony said, a lot of players go to the Knicks and their careers go to die. I look at New York as a place where point guards' careers go to die. You look at Steve Francis, Stephon Marbury, Mike Bibby, Baron Davis. Jeremy Lin started out hot, and then he got average. Jamal Crawford's career kind of dropped a little bit in New York. Then he went to the Clippers, and now he's doing great things. New York's a place just where a lot of players don't succeed. So, I don't know. Hopefully Phil Jackson can turn things around, but I don't really see it. Another player who made a very, very big move in this free agency, Chris Bosh. It looked like he was all set to go to the Rockets. They sent Lin away. They're looking to trade Omer Asik to clear up cap space for him. And then as soon as LeBron left, Miami offered Chris Bosh a 5-year, $120-something million max contract, and Chris Bosh is now looked at as the number one guy in Miami, which is good for him. I mean, Chris Bosh was the number one guy on the Raptors, and he was a perennial All-Star guy. He's gone to 9 straight All-Star games. The only people who have gone to more All-Star games than him consecutively are Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade. So that's pretty big for Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh is going to be good to see him as the number one guy again.
He's now the highest paid player in the NBA because he's making $24 million a year. I would have stayed in Miami for that type of money too. I don't blame you, Chris Bosh, but it's funny because a lot of Rockets fans around here, they're just like, so we got rid of Jeremy Lin for absolutely no reason. And yes, Yes, you did.
Yeah, the Rockets have I don't know, Patrick Beverly might start for them. I mean, I don't look at him as a great point guard, but I'm sure Miami's happy to keep two of the big three. The Miami Heat are targeting Luol Deng right now. There was also some speculation about them looking at Eric Bledsoe. We know that Isaiah Thomas just participated in a sign-and trade to go to the Suns. The Suns now have 4 point guards on their roster. Don't know how they're going to work that out. They just drafted Tyler Ennis on top of Goran Dragic and Eric Bledsoe, as we said. I don't know what the Suns are going to do. They're going to have to get rid of somebody because I don't see a small lineup with 4 point guards, just 4 point guards on any roster. I don't see that working out. It's going to be a very interesting thing that they do. Paul Gasol rejected an offer from the Lakers this weekend. He will be signing with the Chicago Bulls. He's very excited to start a new chapter in his life. He was targeted by the San Antonio Spurs as well as my Oklahoma City Thunder. We need a low post scorer. We didn't get Gasol. We just lost Stavros Sefolosha too, so I'm a little upset. Hopefully we make some moves. But the Bulls adding Paul Gasol is big. Now they can move Taj Gibson to the bench. They'll have Joakim Noah and Paul Gasol on the court at the same time. Derrick Rose should be back. The Jimmy Butler. All they need is a solid small forward, a scoring small forward. And they're looking at amnesty Carlos Boozer to get some money to pick up somebody big. So the Bulls are making big moves. It really all depends on if Derrick Rose comes back. But we should see some success for the Bulls. The Lakers made some very good moves as well. We know that as soon as Melo said he wasn't going, they offered Paul Gasol. He rejected. Then they re-signed Jordan Hill to a deal. They re-signed Nick Young. They're also looking to pick up some players too. So expect to see some success from the Lakers. I mean, Kobe coming back, like I said, Kobe's not going to let the Lakers miss the playoffs again. So we should see some success from the Lakers. I know Joe wants to say something, so go right ahead.
Laker Nation, baby. Lake Show. We're back in it. I've been telling you. Don't worry about it. Also, some rumors they might try to get Kevin Love. Why not? Like, come aboard. As for Pau Gasol, whatever, pal, bye. I don't take it harsh or anything. But do what you want to do, pal. Do what you want to do. If you don't want to play with Kobe Bryant anymore, you're the fool here. That's you. Go to the Bulls and play with Derrick Rose, who's never actually plays. But we'll see what happens with D. Rose. He might be the new Greg Oden. Who knows right now? That's what it's looking like. Everyone's saying it's funny because LeBron went back to Cleveland before D. Rose came back. That's how long it's been.
Yeah, it has been a while since we've seen Derrick Rose play, so we'll see what's up with that. We talked about Kevin Love a little bit. He is intrigued at the idea of being traded to the Cavaliers. Too powerful, but I mean, we'll see. That's what the NBA is nowadays. Chandler Parsons was offered a deal by the Mavericks. The Rockets matched it, so Chandler Parsons will stay in a Rockets jersey. The same happened with Gordon Hayward. He was offered by the Hornets, and the Jazz matched that deal, so Gordon Hayward will stay with the Jazz. They're not a very good team, so they definitely need to make some moves. Vince Carter was signed by the Memphis Grizzlies. They've actually been targeting him for a while, so he will be leaving the Mavericks and going to the Grizzlies. We know Vince Carter's talented. He's still got a lot left in him. So I expect the Grizzlies to step it up a lot. They lost Rudy Gay a couple years ago. They haven't really been the same team. They've been missing a scoring small forward. Vince Carter's a little old, but he can still do the thing. So we'll see what happens with that. Trevor Ariza left the Wizards to go to the Rockets. So the Rockets did get something. They got something. Trevor Ariza is a good player. He's a great spot-up shooter. I think he can bring some things to the Rockets. The Wizards quickly made a move to replace Trevor Ariza. They brought in Paul Pierce, who played just one season with the Nets, so the Brooklyn Celtics are no more, as Paul Pierce left. The Wizards should be all right. What are you thinking, Anthony? You think the Wizards will step it up?
I don't know. At this point in Paul Pierce's career, I don't think that he can take the Wizards to the next level. I think, well, actually, here's my take on this. Every few years, the NBA, it seems like all the star players just switch teams. I think this year in free agency is the year for that because, like you said, I'm going to touch bases on a lot of different things you've said right now. Bosh did stay with Miami, but Powell leaving the Lakers, I agree with his decision because the Lakers would have just tried to trade him again, like they've done 5 different times. So there's no reason for him to re-sign. Let's see. With Vince Carter going to the Grizzlies, that's a big blow to the Mavs. Down the stretch, he was the only player who lifted them. I mean, they had Dirk, they had other people, but Vince Carter was their player going down the stretch, I feel like, watching them. The Wizards, they lost Trevor Ariza, younger than Paul Pierce, more athletic at this point. So, and the Rockets did get a little better by adding Ariza. They may lose Chandler Parsons, may not. All we can do is wait and see. But yeah, I think the NBA is just going to be shaken up, and the East may get a little better. So we don't know how the Wizards are going.
Yeah, I think that LeBron going back to Cleveland and Miami not being a powerhouse anymore definitely makes the Eastern Conference a lot more competitive. I'm sure the Pacers were very happy to see LeBron go because Pacers are a better team than the Cavaliers right now, and the Pacers could very well be the best team in the East with LeBron leaving. The Nets losing Pierce, I think they'll still be okay. The Wizards actually have a really good backcourt with John Wall and Bradley Beal. I think that they're going to have one of the best backcourts in a couple seasons. Adding Paul Pierce as a veteran for them in the playoffs, they struggled a little bit. I don't really think they had that one guy who they could put the game in his hands. We know Paul Pierce is completely a playoff player. I don't think he's going to make them a championship contender, but they're definitely going to be a lot more competitive. So I like that move there. Overall, these are the big major moves in NBA free agency. We actually have one more interesting discussion. I want Jill to start it off because she's the one who introduced it.
Yeah, the other day when I was at my internship watching nonstop LeBron talk for 6 hours, I turned to one of the anchors and I asked, when MJ was in the league and he was making his big decisions, was there this much coverage on SportsCenter? And he said no, because ESPN would play SportsCenter maybe 2 hours a day, and that was really it. And I think the reason I don't like LeBron is because of the media. Honestly, it taints my image of him, and I know that's not fair, but I take it out on him. Sorry, Bron, I'm sure you're a great person, but the media makes me hate you. And I wonder if the same would have been for MJ, because I've heard that he wasn't the nicest player to play with, but no one will ever say anything bad about Michael Jordan. And I find that interesting, and I'm wondering if it is because of the media. If there had been Twitter, if there was more SportsCenter back then, would it have influenced more people's decisions and opinions on him? And I definitely think so. I definitely think if MJ was playing now, he would be hated, absolutely hated by a majority of the people, but they hate that they love him. And that's going to be the same thing with LeBron. I love to watch him play, but I'm still going to say I hate him. And it would have been the same thing with MJ. The stuff he decided to do, it would have driven the whole country insane. If we think it's a big deal for LeBron to go back home, imagine what would it be like now for MJ to be like, oh, I'm going to switch sports real quick. The whole country would have shut down.
Yeah. Absolutely. With all these advancements in technology, I mean, you hear stuff every minute. There are these up-to-date notifications. I mean, half the stories that you hear about on ESPN come from sources. So there are these different secondary sources telling you these things that LeBron did. LeBron's absolutely a great guy. He does a lot for the state of Ohio, does a lot for his community. He's not a bad player. He doesn't get into a lot of legal trouble. But the fact that we hear about him so often and all this drama is created by every decision he makes. LeBron James had eggs this morning. LeBron James got his hair cut. LeBron James drove his kid to school. The fact that we hear about him so often makes us hate him so much. So just imagine if we heard things like Michael Jordan's going to retire after three-peating. Oh, no, he's going to come back and three-peat again. Oh, Michael Jordan's going to go play baseball. I also read an interesting article about how Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, and Scottie Pippen, who were like their time's big three, never had a conversation outside of basketball. On the court, they talked in terms of strategizing and playing basketball, but when they were in the locker room, Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen both admitted to never having a conversation with each other or Michael Jordan. That's something that the media would completely blow up on, because we saw with Miami's big three, they were all very close. Wade, Bosh, and LeBron were together all the time. They were very close friends. And Michael Jordan did not treat his teammates well. He didn't really care about his teammates. He cared about himself. Very big ego, very cocky, very insulting to people. So I'm sure if Michael Jordan played now with Twitter, Instagram, ESPN showing SportsCenter 30 times a day, I'm sure he hated.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like you were saying, Michael Jordan, he's had his fair share of problems, and it wasn't blown up like LeBron is today. LeBron has an app that tells you just what he does. What player has an app telling you what he does? I don't care when LeBron brushes his teeth. I don't care when he eats popcorn. I care when he's on the court. That's why I watch basketball. Yep. And if you look back in history, from the faces of the NBA, there's Dr. J, then Michael, then Kobe, now LeBron. It progressively got worse. You don't hear anything ever about Dr. J. ever. And Wilt Chamberlain, he was a womanizer to no extent, and you never heard anything about that. Then Kobe, it got a little worse where he had the rape charge, he had everything going against him. The media kind of blew that up. And now with today's media, we have iPhones. Within 2 seconds, we're gonna know if LeBron is out of the house, if he got kicked out of the house with his wife, if he's in jail. We're gonna know within 2 seconds. So it just gets progressively worse, and the NBA's next star may have it even worse than LeBron. Who knows? So
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like times are changing and technology improves every day. So it's very easy to dislike a person with all these bad stories being told about them. In reality, LeBron James hasn't done anything bad in his career. Besides leaving Cleveland behind, probably the worst thing he ever did. But the fact that we just hear about him so often and he's everywhere, that's what makes it a problem. And like we've said, if it was MJ with all the things he did, it would have definitely got worse. I mean, like, who would like a guy who three-peated, retired, and then came back and did it again? It's crazy. And then Mike MJ became an owner and drafted Adam Morrison, and the Bobcats are terrible, but he's this legend, but he owns one of the worst teams to ever play in the NBA. Like it would just be it's so easy to dislike a person when you know all this bad stuff. So it was a very interesting question Joe proposed to me. I think it's a very interesting discussion that we could delve into. But yeah, that's really it. It was a crazy week in sports. The World Cup game will start in about 15 minutes. So we're going to end the show now for you all to prepare for it. I want to thank Anthony for joining. If you have anything final to say, the floor is yours.
I just want to say thanks for having me on again. It's a pleasure. Hopefully I can work with you guys again soon. But I had fun.
Jillian.
Yes, I love having Anthony on the show. Always fun to have a guest, and you're welcome back whenever. We've discussed the summer is a very slow time for sports. I think this week was the busiest we're going to have this whole summer. So think of any discussions, and you're welcome back.
Yeah, we appreciate having you. Around the Horn might happen again. I need to redeem myself from the first round exit, and I will. I'm calling it the next Around the Horn that Second Take does. I'm going to win. I'm telling you now, Anthony, for you to prepare yourself. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Hope you guys enjoy the World Cup final. Hope you guys enjoy All-Star break, and we will be back soon.